Hello, everyone. Welcome. Yes, we're all back. Potty Mouth. We're here to say hello again. And lovely to kind of have you in there. It's just straight away when I switch it on, like everyone jumps from in the chat so I can see everyone because I normally can't see anyone. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Potty Mouth Garden Club. If you would put a capital Q, I silenced me watching. I'm getting them things on me bloody. Sorry, I silenced my phone, but I'm getting them on me. Watch there. If you put a capital Q, if you want to ask a question, put a capital Q. I will put my Q there now in the search box, and I will find your questions a lot easier. So don't forget, we have our Discord where you can join in the fun there. Now, there's actually, and I wish I'd took a picture of it. I think it was JB or someone told JB to actually make a what's the bloody point chapter, like all your failures are in there. I wish I kind of got it up. And there's some cracker. Honestly, you think JB's failing? Let's just, you know what I mean? It's just up. Well, we've got. Oh, now I've got David Jennings has just subscribed. I've got that bouncing up there now as well. So I'll get that sorted later another time. So yes, pop over to Discord. That would be fantastic. What I wanted to show you as well is I'll share my screen. We are doing this as a podcast as well. So just, if you want, that would be fantastic. Just search on your podcast of your choice. And there's all the shows there. Because it's quite, you know what I mean? We normally go like over an hour. So it's quite nice just to kind of sit in the car, chill out and listen to us if you're going on a trek or anything like that. Let me just bring in... There they are. I was just telling everyone there, I've just changed them kind of names again because I wasn't kind of too keen on them kind of names. They were getting on me, nerves a little bit. They were a bit laggy and stuff like that. So I've changed them. Did I notice? Just let's see. No, look, I'll have to put them back on again. The actual temperatures have gone off, Stephen, as well. So we don't know how hot everybody is. So I'll tell you what, look at that bonny lad there. We'll run the intro, then we'll get into saying hello. Yes, so Stephen, look at that vodka in that cup. Look, hey, how are you doing, sir? Are you all right? Are you good?
Yeah, very good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yes, well, good. I'm excited. I like to say, I love to kind of have a chat with you, you know what I mean? Or chat with all three of us about gardening. It's like a little bit of therapy for me, you know what I mean? Especially...
It is, of course it is.
You know what I mean? And just like even failures, JB with his failures there, it's nice to kind of share them. And to be honest, I'll just jump over to JB. JB, when I seen that little, and everyone's piling in with their crappy veg, and it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, all I can say is you're not alone.
Yes,
you're not alone.
It's so good, that little Discord page.
So that was a great idea, whoever kind of mentioned it. So what are you saying, Steve?
Those potatoes of mine were atrocious, absolutely atrocious. Some buckets of potatoes this year have been absolutely hopeless.
Well, you know what it is, Steve, as well.
Less said about that, the better.
It's nice, though, because you've been gardening all your life, and it's coming up with that. So it makes us a little bit more it makes you human, Stephen. You're not robotic. Do you know what I mean?
It does. I mean, many of the things in gardening are so out of your control anyway. You can strive to control them. You can bend nature to your will. But you turn your back for a minute, and Mother Nature's in there, and she's done her work, and she's finished that off for whatever reason it is. And it often leaves us gardeners scratching our heads. We'll have a good idea what's happened, but at the end of the day, Mother Nature, she's in control, regardless of how good you are. And it always makes me wonder and laugh, actually, when you see these expert gardeners on the TV, and you're thinking, your garden always looks so perfect. And we know it's just not like that.
We
all know it's just not like that.
Well, I love watching, and actually, man, I try and emulate it as well. You know, if you kind of do watch Gardener's World, the colorist on that TV program, the editor who's coloring the show. Just as hitting that kind of contrast, vivid saturations. He's just taking them right up to the max.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, this is like, you know, when you look at this, like, this is England. This is green, gorgeous England. And then you actually probably look at it in real life and it's just like drab.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of... Audrey, hello, Audrey.
Hello.
Sorry for ignoring you there. How can I ignore my muse in gardening?
Oh, you're here.
Are you well?
I'm great, thank you.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Have we had a good week in the garden or in the back garden?
We have.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, we will find out. We will find out later then. So, JB,
Hello.
is there any reason why that's happening like that? That's not nice.
Well, that's
I think you've just got something, you know what I mean? You just kind of, I'll tell you what, I'll see if I can get, that's just, I think you've got something that you've obsessed about now. You know what I mean? The cucumber was kind of out there, but this is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's just...
They get insane, those ones. So that's a Tromboncino squash.
Right. And is that,
And they get...
I like just looking at it. Is that, is it ready? Is it, just makes us smile. Just makes, it's almost like what instrument went up me the other week? Doctor, where you going? Doctor, what are you doing with that? That's JB.
Oh, God. No
Is
wonder
that-
you couldn't sit down for a while.
If it had a camera on the end, it would be bloody.
Yeah.
Is that? Come on, seriously, JB. There is that. Is it like ripe? Is it ready?
Oh, honestly, I have no idea. I don't know. People in the chat might be able to enlighten me today. But that's a volunteer, so I didn't grow it.
Oh, right.
It just popped up at the bottom of my compost bin, and I kind of saw the squashy leaves and thought, "Ooh, I'll leave that, see what happens." And it's the Tromboncino one. I've never planted that anywhere. Like I've never bought those seeds. But they do get really, really big, and like I think when you grow them vertically, the plants can kind of tell, and the fruit gets really long. And on the ground, it gets a bit kind of fatter. But I was just kind of waiting for it to do that thing where it dies off a bit.
I've actually seen them when you go abroad. Now I don't know if it's a kind like that, but there is these but they're like pale green color, just dead long. So that might be. I wonder if yours is like a ripe version of that. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
It's just an older version. They sang a bit more.
I bet JV's been like mothering that just to get that image. Do you know what I mean? So what was it called again, JB? I've forgotten.
Tromboncino. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a good one to say. It's very simple.
And you can eat those. You can pick those as a summer squash, or let them harden a little bit on the vine and pick them as more of a winter squash.
And is that Audrey? Is that like a normal size for it?
It almost looks a little like a butternut to me.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw it today. When I took that picture, I was going,
See,
hang on a minute.
I'm not sure what you have there, because we grow a butternut here that has a longer neck, so there's more flesh to it. So I'm not sure that that's a Tromboncino.
I guess straight away though, JB, you've got to ask: is that? I'm trying to get JB on there naturally, but he's not coming on. We'll have to put him on too. Is that? Have you grown these ones before, these Boncino things? But have you grown the other ones before, the normal ones?
Yeah, so I've got some butternut squash on the plot at the moment. And then they haven't really started setting fruit yet. They're just starting, but they're this big sort of thing. So I can't really tell. It'll be an interesting one to see.
Was that squash ever green? Was that ever green?
Was it ever green?
Yes. It started off green. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it is. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that turns out to be.
He knew.
I love these kind of.
He knew when he was taking that photograph. He just knew. Right then, we'll ask a question. See if we can get through some questions today as well. Stephen Blaze is asking how to grow peanuts. Now, I haven't a clue. JB's looking a bit bland there. No, a little bit. Steve's, Audrey, it's up to you.
I've never grown them. I just say you need to find
me neither.
a gardener from the south of the United States, like a Georgia gardener, because they'll grow them all the time down there.
Right,
So
right. How,
you need kind of a southern U.S. gardener for that one.
or did you know? I mean, what do they look like, and what are the peanuts?
Well, the peanuts grow underground,
Right,
and it just has a nice kind of lush green top. And I don't think I have enough heat here or long enough, but I've never also wanted to use all the space for peanuts.
right. Also,
Right?
the love heat and to take up quite a bit
Yeah.
of room. Right, right.
And I think they're a relatively long season crop. So it's not like you can grow them and then switch them out for something else. So yeah, I've never grown them.
Right. There you go. So it's something that I haven't kind of even thought about.
No.
Let's just see there.
That was a good question then. No
Yeah.
answers.
Yes. Well, Audrey's like it's put. I didn't even know they kind of grew under the ground. Do you know what I mean? So
No.
English green back garden sustainably Jordan Andrew. That's a title.
That's a
there.
title.
That's a title. Tony, growing any special cabbage varieties and raised beds? I didn't got the end of that. Well, I've just tomorrow's video, Andrew. We'll have it. I'm putting out some. What did I put in? Some Savoy cabbage, which I bought at the garden centre. Some marathon, I think they're called marathon broccoli, and some cauliflower's igloo. Before I get, wait, I just want to. Oh, what? I missed that, JB. I could have just jumped there. Were you putting a bit of eye drops in there, laddie? Are you muted now? I think you're muted.
Oh yeah, sorry. No, I think I've got some pollen in my eye or something.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah,
I was thinking
eye drops.
he's putting a few drops in just to make his eyes a bit kind of sparkly. Because you are the Italian stallion. How's your mum? Anyways, JB, is she well?
Oh, good. Yeah.
Good,
Oh,
good. Has she said anything about us?
There's no more messaging.
No, she's not mentioned us this week. No, all right. Well, if that's the way she play, if that's the way she wants to play it, hard to get. I don't mind. Gail's asking, how do you know if your Brad's Atomic are ready to harvest? Mine are still solid. Just wait a little bit, Gail. But brings me on to Audrey. Right, Audrey. Let me just get this up here then. 1 second. I'll get it all set. So you sent me this picture, Audrey. Let me find it. Is this the right one? Yes. Wait on, I'll get off that. I'll have to sort that bit out. So that's your Brad's Atomic.
Those are two of them, yes.
Yes, right.
And they're ready. Don't worry about the color because it depends where you're growing them and how you're growing them. But they need to be soft to the touch.
Yes, that's the only kind of way.
They're hard. They are still ripening.
Yes,
but if you give a little, yeah.
We had a little conversation last week, Audrey, about the color grading of them. Let me just there's yours. 1 second, right?
Yeah, and I did no touch-ups.
No color and grading. So you tell me they haven't been color graded.
Oh, I won't tell you that because it's in a catalog.
That's just So, and I didn't realize though over here I think it was Tony O'Neill was saying we have some laws governing the kind of the falsifying almost of there have to be a kind of some sort of regulation. Have you got that over there then, Audrey? Some sort of like governance to?
Oh no.
No, just crank that saturation right up to full there.
Capitalism with a capital C over here.
I'm just thinking they look like they're reflecting sort of a bluish light. I wonder if that plate was sort of put down next to either a TV or a computer monitor, because all that reflections on the left there, it looks like it's coming off something now.
Right. There's a lot of work went into that photograph. Do you know what I mean? It's just like
undoubtedly,
I think if you just up the saturation, you'll get colors like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the flesh colors look all right in the hands.
Well,
exactly.
Oh, no, I don't think they do. 1 second. I'm jumping here from button to button. Do you think our hands look at? I think that's them hands not skin color. To be honest, but
Yeah, look at the fingertips. There's some weird colors there.
But anyway, so I just kind of thought I would bring that up. So Audrey, let's get back to you then. Are you bringing in a lot of Brads at the moment? Because I certainly am. There's kind of right in the glut moment.
Way better than mine do. I had some issues with my back tomato bed, so I'm ripping everything out this week.
Never.
I'm pulling a Tony. I'm ripping it all out.
Right. I mean, that was a bit of a what you call it, a clickbait title. I'll be honest. Do you know what I mean? I only pulled out 4. But
no, but you have so many more plants of it. I didn't grow that many Brads.
Well, I tell you what, and Steve, we're going back to kind of Steve's idea of like snapping off the side shoot.
Yeah.
They come, you know what I mean? Steve, that's a great thing because they come just so quick and so prolific.
And strong as well. The plants are so much stronger when grown from the side shoot. That's why I've always done it, because even now, I mean, I got a first generation of my first lot of side shoots. They're in my test tunnel at the back. And they've got 2 or 3 trusses of fruit on. And then I took a second batch, and they're in my small polytunnel, and I've got one truss on each plant now that's set fruit. So I'll probably end up getting more fruit from the side shoots than I did from the main plants. So it's definitely worth doing. And the thing is, if the warm weather, sometimes here in October we start getting frosts. If it plays nice, the weather this year, and goes all the way into December and staying reasonably warm, they'll still be cropping at Christmas. And it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. It can. So it's worth having the plants in.
See, in a way, though, you're lucky, Steve, because, you've got you said it when I was kind of putting my polytunnel up, always go for big as you can, Tony, but you've got the great space to kind of, because I'm thinking now, I need, you know what I mean? I'm kind of not getting tired of me tomatoes, but I'm kind of I'm thinking the next stage, the next planting. Do you know what I mean? That's why I took the poorer ones out there, just so what I mean. I've got a place to put, like, say, I want to put some dwarf beans and some other things in there at this moment. Where tomatoes you can just put, you know what I mean? When you've got that kind of acreage, even in the polytunnels, it's a lot easier. Do you know what I mean? So,
you always, after you've built a polytunnel or a greenhouse, you always want it a couple of foot bigger, and that'll happen in the first 6 months. I guarantee it, and that's why I will always have to go to you. Think of the space you're putting it in, and then fill that space literally with you. Don't go any smaller than you have to. Just fill that space. Get as big a tunnel as you can. You won't regret it.
Steve, what people did say to me was, and I've never come across it, and I was thinking at the time when I was actually building it, maybe I did, but I've got a wide path in that polytunnel. Now I love it, to be honest, and I'm not even bothered about sacrificing it. You know what I mean? When we talked about last week about the raised beds and that, it's great to get a wheelbarrow and I can kind of turn it round. So the bit I've lost on soil, do you know what I mean? I'm quite happy to kind of do that. You know what I mean? To kind of for a nice path.
There's also this other thing as well that many people, once you sort of get past 10 foot once you get past a 10-foot wide polytunnel, you start thinking about having a bed down the centre of the tunnel because you're at the highest point for climbing trusses. But I've tried that on several tunnels and greenhouses over the past. It's just never quite worked for me because you're losing space, because you've got your big bed in the middle and then you've got 2 side beds, but then you've got 2 paths which have to be narrow because you're short on space then, and then they become inconsequential, awkward to get into. So that's why I don't have a central bed in any of my tunnels.
Well, even to the point though, Steve, I find that when I do, the green, I forget what they're called, the duo
green side up.
No, hey, links below. The green duo ones that I grow like tomatoes in with the reservoir. Well, they clutter up. You know what I mean? It's like, I know exactly, like you say. And you do see people have that central aisle one, but then they have a narrow path, and you know what I mean? You can guarantee it'll be awkward for them. So
Well, I'm actually doing a little bit of a version. So after saying all that, next year in my third tunnel, the new one at the back, I'm actually where the tomatoes are now. I'm actually going to put a slightly narrow bed in there because I want me tomatoes in a row. I don't think they've got enough sun this year, so I'm just making a slight change. But you'll see all that next year.
So just describe that bed at the moment. Then how is it? Just a flat with a path down the middle,
It's just that the polytunnel I think is 12 foot wide.
right?
I've got a 3 foot bed on the right, and that comes up to the first door. So I've got 2 3 foot double doors, and the pathway is in the 3 foot to the 6 foot range, if you like, and then the other 6 foot is all bed, and
Right.
that's where I've got all my tomatoes or where my peppers were before I ripped them out, and my aubergines.
So
So 6 foot bed, 3 foot path, 3 foot bed.
right, and you want a bigger bed for your tomatoes? Did you say?
No, where the path ends, so that I'll have 3 foot bed, 3 foot path, and then I'll have a 2 foot bed with my tomatoes in all in a row this time.
Oh, right, yes, right. I get you
And
now.
then
Right, aye.
there'll be 4 foot left on the left hand side, a very narrow path because that bed will be growing melons next year, but I'm going to let them scramble along the ground as opposed to support them,
Right,
and that will let the sun in to the tomatoes.
right. I get you now. So you're wanting your tomatoes to kind of have as much sun as possible.
Yes.
Right. Yep. It's funny. I was talking to someone on our allotment, and he says his house tomatoes. He's getting way more, and he's just built this brand new, lovely greenhouse. And he says, "I'm not getting that many like tomatoes from this one, but he's got it like the door facing south. You know what I mean? So it's like everything's kind of." And I said, "Is it not because of they're all kind of behind you?" Like, and he went, he says the one in the house, the home one, is facing.
It's facing south.
Like diagonal, you know what I mean? Like side on. So, right, Audrey. Now I want to talk about nettles. Do you get nettles over there? Have you been stung by a nettle? Because this is why I'm coming here, Audrey, with this. I got stung today, and I mentioned it. I forgot to mention it last week. I got stung as well. The nettles are in the bed that I've got dedicated to your dwarf beans. So I'm in there all the time scrabbling around, and I don't like to kind of just throw out, like I think some kind of weeds are a little bit good. But these mother chucker nettles, the sting on me lasts at least 12 to 15 hours. Now,
Wow.
It's like, and I'm thinking,
You're a sensitive man, Tony.
and I'm thinking, bloody hell, you know what I mean? Have you got nettles over there? Do you encourage nettles or not?
I know that there is something called stinging nettles. I do not have them. And I know that some people grow them for fertilizer.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather not have anything that hurts. So I did plant my first comfrey just weeks ago. And I thought that's not going to hurt, so I can do that one.
It's funny. I've just had Mark from our allotments has just offered us. I think he's had a few comfrey plants, and he says just take some, Tony. But I don't want to kind of put it in my garden because it might spread. So I might put it in a pot but just.
Well, if it's the comfrey that doesn't spread, then
I'm not sure. Yes, you could. We've had this conversation before about not spreading. But we're talking about nettles, Audrey. So you haven't? Have you been stung by a nettle before then?
Not that I can recall.
Wow, bloody hell!
And I would imagine you remember it if it lasts 15 hours.
It's almost like it's tingling like hell. Do you know what I mean? It's like.
Well, you know why?
I've always had it.
Nettles is like little hairs that irritate, and straight away when you see people being stung, they're going "ow" like this, and they're rubbing it in. Just ignore it and get on with life, and most of them will fall out, and then it won't be so bad.
I'm glad you're not me, Dad. Dad, I've heard me hand. Just ignore it, son. Watch out. The racing's on.
But it's true. If you rub it into your hand, it'll irritate you even more.
Yes, I know. Does it last a while with you then, Steve?
I've got one now on my wrist. I just don't bother with it. I get stung every single day.
But do they last a long time? That's what I'm after, because
I can feel it there, but it's not stinging. It's not hurting.
I don't mean the kind of like sting, like kind of wasp sting, just an irritant, should I say? JB, with your wild garden, do you have a few wild
there's quite
meadow?
a few kicking about. They're worst. I find they're worst in spring, like at the start of spring when they're still really young, because they're really dense, like they're densely packed. And if you accidentally pull one out in spring, that one.
I know. And it's like, it's funny because it's a natural reaction to kind of swear. Do you know what I mean? And like you kind of, oh yeah, little, you know what I mean? Kind of like that. So, but does anybody use nettles as like a tea or a conditioner? Do you do as well?
Yeah.
JB, do you do that as well? Do you? I wonder why JB keeps going to me. I'll have to sort that out, JB, after the end of the show. So do you save them then, JB, do you?
Yeah. They reek. They absolutely honk. Like when you make that nettle tea, I was not prepared. You know, like I saw people doing it for ages. I thought, yeah, I'll have a go at that. And oh my God, it is just awful. I hate making it, but it is really good. And I've got like the plot next door, their old compost bay, it's just like abandoned. So there's like a massive patch of nettles that I have to cut back anyway, because it's like it all starts growing into my greenhouse. So yeah, just bang them in a load of water and
that's it. Just put them in water and let them 6 months, 4 months. How long?
That's a way of doing it. Yeah, you can get more sophisticated with like drain pipes and weights and all that stuff. But if you just got a barrel, stick the nettles in, put some water in.
That's all I do.
You've got this horrific black, nasty looking water. It's great for the plants.
Do you dilute that afterwards? Is that like a liquor? And it's got to be.
Yeah, I don't have any strict measurements. I just use like 2-liter Coke bottles or whatever. Just put the black liquid in that, got a watering can out, bung a bit of the black in.
And have you, JB, have you noticed that it actually does work? Is it a good?
I've not done any tests. I've not done any side-by-side tests, but it's really high in nitrogen, the nettle feed. So I use that on my brassicas quite often. And they seem to do generally okay, probably. I think it probably helps a bit.
Right. Are you sure? Because I've seen your last video there where your brassicas were...
Well, I didn't. Yeah, I hadn't used them much, actually. And someone in the comments said, why don't you use nettle tea? And I was like, oh yeah, I've actually got some in the shed that I forgot about. But, to be fair, with the cabbages, I think it's timing.
It's too late this year to try and save them, JB. There it is. You know what I mean? Maybe. That's compost. Steve, have you done any trials, tests with it? Is it any
nettle
good?
Tea, yeah, I use it every year. As JB says, just chuck it in a barrel. I tend to cut mine up in a wheelbarrow first with a set of garden shears, chuck it in the barrel, cover them with water. But when it comes to dilution, I always make that and my comfrey tea. I'll dilute it so that the water that's ready for watering my plants is the colour of a weak tea. That's the colour I aim for.
Well, just tell me then, Steve, what's the difference from nettle tea to comfrey tea? Do you use them on different plants?
Yes. Nettle tea is very, very high in nitrogen.
Right.
It's also got a lot of trace elements in there, although I'm not 100% sure on what's in there, so I won't quote. Comfrey tea is more for your fruiting time of the plants.
Right.
So when you're trying to ripen things up or get things to fruit. But comfrey is just a wonder thing. It really is. And going back to your mate, make sure it's Bocking 14 if you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it's seed, it spreads like... I think I've spoken about this to you before.
Yeah. I couldn't remember the name. I knew we did have kind of warnings about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Mike Harborfield is asking tomato support, strings or stakes, or the old never kind of raise its head nemesis there. My strings have snapped. Was that twice there, Mike? And I tell you, mine did as well, Mike. And if that's happening, that means you've got some decent crop on your tomatoes. So, round of applause for the kind of, you know what I mean? Round of applause for that. Because mine haven't snapped this year. So, but I'm using paracord, 3mm paracord, and it's invincible for that kind of, for the stake. And I tell you why, I used to stake in the old polytunnel, but I was forever popping. The polytunnel doesn't rip, but you put a hole in and it's annoying. There was loads of holes with stakes. Now this one's a bit higher, but when you get to your edging of your polytunnel, you know, if you accidentally put a stake through your polytunnel or, you know, smash a pane, and it's frustrating. So now 3 wires over the top. I don't know how many wires now over the top, and I just string down. Steve, how do you do it?
Both ways.
So you're still doing the stakes as well, are you?
I do stakes. I don't know why, to be honest, but I do stakes in the big tunnel, and in the back I've got strings hanging. But I've managed to get some overhead wires in that back tunnel when it was empty, so my strings are suspended off there. So that makes it easy.
Surely though, your stakes aren't as sturdy as your string. You know what I mean? I know we've got to talk about the right string, but when we were doing the stakes in the polytunnel, you had to, I was using even like concrete road ones, bringing them in, because the slightest weight and a crappy bamboo just wobbles and snaps and.
No. You're doing it wrong. That's the thing. You're doing it all wrong. You put 5 or 6 stakes in a row, and then the row of tomatoes behind have 5 or 6 stakes in, and then you put cross beams across the top and across the middle, and then you tie the front row to the back row, and you've got a solid structure. You could drive a lorry across it. It's bamboo. It's really strong.
Oh, Steve, that's way too much. That's
it's just an extra couple of knots, lad.
That's just Yeehaw has just subscribed.
Well, yeehaw to yeehaw.
Yes. Stephen, does anybody grow rhubarb? Audrey, do you grow rhubarb?
I have 2 crowns. Yes.
Right. Well, I'll ask you first then, because I grow rhubarb, and I'm newish to fruit. Now, I just took this. It's a bit of a crappy picture, Audrey, but one thick stem, one thin stem. What is the way to? Is it easy to pick it thinner? Is it better to pick it thinner for flavour, or does it not matter if you pick it thicker? Because a lot of mine, I've left them wanting them thicker. Then I've just realised today, I wonder if I'm leaving them too, where you leave like a cucumber and it gets too thick.
Right.
Is there a difference, or does it not really matter? Because you're just going to throw loads of sugar at it.
I will take them more based on their color.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think I've picked both. But I like it to be a really nice deep red.
Yeah.
So I wait for that.
Right. Steve, I can hear you chirping on there in the background.
Sorry about that. I can't help myself. No, I was just agreeing with Audrey. Pick them when they're a nice ruby red colour, and that's perfect.
So it doesn't matter if they're thin. It's as long as it's kind of like ripe red colour.
It's the same with any plant. You get good big branches and you get small, poorer ones. But once they're red, they're ripe and they're ready to eat.
Mm-hmm. No, well, I mean the actual rhubarb in there has been tremendous.
You've had that in a couple of years now, haven't you?
Yeah, and it's actually I put 2 crowns in, but only one's really working as a.
Well, I was thinking you could probably split that one next year, and probably be ready for splitting that, and that will reinvigorate both roots, and then the year after you'll be able to force some rhubarb to get some really extra sweet, extra nice stuff really early in the season. That's really good. Really good.
We'll have to talk about that, because you'll have to tell us about that. JB, rhubarb, sir? Are you a rhubarb man?
Did you see when you asked? I went like this because I had some rhubarb gifted to me by Liz Zorab when I went to visit her. She gave me some rhubarb.
Right, and you've looked after it, I hope, have you? You've looked after Liz.
Yeah. Oh dear. I don't even know how. It was way before the drought. It was it just
you can't even
it just
pin that
really
one to it.
Where it went in. Maybe I overwatered it. I don't know, but it died off pretty quick. So I'd like to get some more. but it's a space. It takes a lot of space, doesn't it? It gets quite big. But
you're putting weeds in the last couple of videos there. You've got plenty of space. Do you know what I mean? You're growing weeds, for God's sake, you know what I mean? So wildflowers, yeah, wildflowers.
Just go and dig a hole in the middle of your meadow and put the plants in green side up, and you're sorted. Oh look, I'm frozen again.
All right, hey, we know what to do there, Steve. I'll tell you what. I'll just ask, and I think we've had this before. Ian's asking, do any of you use green manure over winter? Now, Ian, I'll say straight away that it's not I don't find that even appealing, to be honest. I find it because you'd have to dig it, you know what I mean? So you've got to kind of dig it out and turn it over. Then more seeds might start growing. It doesn't appeal to me, that. JB, is that something that you've done and you're happy doing it, or?
Well, I tried and I failed.
Hey!
Yeah, no, I tried some last year and I just had really bad germination. I had a green manure mix of winter rye, daikon radish, some vetch, like a nitrogen fixing thing, and maybe some other stuff. And I think I did it towards the end of September, which kind of makes sense because I've been thinking about doing it again this year. And everyone said, you've got to do it a bit earlier. Everything's still growing earlier.
I know.
So all my squashes are going, or there's, second spring. So I've got turnips and brassicas and, radish and stuff going. There's not really like a spare bed that is kind of sitting fallow that looks like it. Oh, yeah, now would be a good time for green manure. So I think you have to kind of make quite a lot of a planned decision to leave that bed bare and to rejuvenate it with green manure, as opposed to kind of scattergun, do it everywhere after the season. But
it's not, like you say, it's not something that it even appeals to me, to be honest. It's just, I'd rather just wait till say October, put a layer of compost on and leave it that way. Do you know what I mean? So, Steve, you've done it, haven't you, Steve?
I've done it loads. I used to do it with my pumpkins, and you would dig 6 foot of soil ahead of the pumpkin growing and dig in that green manure, and it would feed the pumpkin as it grew. I've actually got some on order because I'm hoping to plant some within the next couple of weeks. But that big piece of land where I have big compost dropped off for me,
yes,
horse manure, I want to dig that over and get some green manure going in that this year, because it will help feed my composting bins through the winter.
Right.
Give me some green stuff for that. That's what I'm hoping, but we'll see, because it's a lot of work for me to get there in a very short period of time.
When would you how do you process the green manure? Do you have to dig it in? And when would you dig it in, or cut it, or trim it, or whatever?
If you could plant it now and get it going, it'll be going in a couple of weeks, and you'd probably get a cut in October, maybe one in Christmas, but you'll get about 5 cuts off it before you need to dig it in. And then all you do then is you just harvest it all off of the ground, trim it, rake it off, put all that stuff in your compost heap, and then just turn your soil over about 3 weeks before you want to plant, and then plant. And the thing is, it produces so much biomass, which is the stuff that, when Charles Dowden's doing his no dig and he twists the plants off and leaves the roots in.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same with the green manure. And as JB hinted at there, the vetch in your mix is nitrogen fixing as well. So it's good for the new starting plants that you're about to plant.
But
I just used the Hungarian grazing rye and vetch. I don't put anything else in.
But when you said you can get 3 or 4 cuts with it, what are you doing with that then? Are you just cutting it and put that in the compost bin?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I see.
So then you've got fresh green stuff for your compost. You can add that with some paper, or with some straw or hay, and you can help to heat your compost heap through the winter. So you're keeping things going and producing more and more. That throws me, that thing.
I know. I would have to. Why I kind of do it, because I you know what I'm like. I can't do 2 jobs at the same time, so I would end up being dead quiet, going. You know what I mean? So I tell you what, I'll jump to now while I kind of just looking at me thing. I think I
Well,
tried it. What, Audrey?
I was going to say that was going to be my tip today.
Subscribe.
Was cover crops.
All right. Oh, well, that's
All right.
shattered. You've shattered that then.
I know.
That was
So,
Mike. No, it wasn't. It was Ian. Ian spoiled it. So.
well, I still get credit for it because that's what I want.
Well, we might even let you off, Audrey. Mind you,
Well,
how do we know? I think it's just
my
quite
tomatoes
easy.
out so I can put a cover crop in there.
That
One
was
of the
good.
reasons I'm ripping them up.
I just wanted to show you. This is my. I tried. I think the last time I got it from King Seed. I've ordered me garlic, and I'm going for the
Right.
Solent White. I think that's what I've ordered. So
That's what I grew this year.
5, and I think I've probably got 8 bulbs, possibly. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember. So we'll see that. Are you eating, JB? There, who's eating? Who's got a bag of crisps under? Look, he's got some sweeties under his leg. Ever the professional. What? So we've done rhubarb thickness. I was going to ask you is, we talking about like squirrels and everything last time, and Audrey, you get pestered with that kind of thing. What animals, Audrey? We'll start with you then, if you don't mind. What animals would you encourage into your garden? You like say squirrels you want out, and badgers we need out, and rabbits. What would you encourage into your garden?
I would love to encourage a fox because I think they're so pretty, but we don't have them here. I more encourage bees and butterflies.
Right.
I don't like the little 4-legged critters in the garden.
How would you encourage bees and butterflies?
Well, I plant flowers that, and this year, because of the monarch issues, which have been going on for a long time, I also want to plant a lot next year for where they lay their eggs. So they like fennels and dills. So I'm going to plant a lot of those just so they can eat it and have a great time with their little caterpillars. So yeah, and I just saw a thing recently where you make up like this mash of brown sugar and bananas and something else, and the butterflies love that. So I was going to give that a try.
Now, I'm kind of totally on the opposite side there, Ori. I don't want to encourage butterflies because butterflies are caterpillars, and caterpillars are ruining your brassicas and everything.
No, they only those horrible white cabbage butterflies do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, you don't. Also, you're pick and choosing with which butterflies you want in your garden.
I would like monarchs and swallowtails.
Right. Oh, I just thought butterflies. Right. So you're going to stand the guard and chase them bloody white ones away.
Yes, I plant what they like. So,
JB, as our natural environmentalist hero. What?
How long have you got? Because I could go on for a bit about this.
Well, what would you encourage? No, I was thinking more like frogs and toads and that kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, frogs, hedgehogs as well. Obviously, they're voracious slug eaters, and badgers and foxes do. They'll have a few slugs as well, actually. So they're not all bad. But there's lots of insect life as well that is kind of maligned, or like you just think of as creepy crawlies that actually do loads of beneficial stuff in the garden. Hoverfly caterpillars in particular are really easy to mistake for cabbage white butterflies or something else like a sawfly that you might think is eating. So do have a Google and have a look at what a hoverfly larvae looks like, because they're just little wormy things. They're a little bit spiky, but they will go around and eat hundreds of aphids. They are really, really hungry. They're just as good for your garden as ladybirds. So I think hoverflies are like my main. If I had to pick one, it's hoverflies.
Right.
They're easy to miss. And they're attracted by kind of lots of pollen and nectaring flowers. And
what about then frogs and toads? Is toads just as good as frogs, or would you encourage?
I assume so. Yeah, I feel like frogs are a bit easier to come by, right? Like a bit more common. I don't know if toads need a bit more like specialist habitat, but frogs are on my to-do list, right? Like I need to put ponds in. It's just one of those things I keep not getting around to. But Yeah,
Steve,
frogs are just-
what about you, sir? The countryside, because you're like right in the kind of the Lake District. What would you encourage in?
Well, you know, I already plant a load of flowers anyway, and I tried to get them all around the plot. My garden has had to be fenced off against rabbits, because when we get a flush of rabbits around here, they will decimate your plot completely around here. They go into the thousands. So I've had to stop things like hedgehogs getting in by the way I put my fences up. So I will never get that in the plot. But all the other things, yeah, they're all welcome, and even the bad stuff's welcome. I don't mind so much. I really don't. I mean, there was a situation in my garden earlier this year where I was growing cabbages. I put about 12 in, I think. And I think we ate 5, and the slugs and the snails ate the rest. But that's all right, because I've only just taken them out today. They were half eaten. They've gone on the compost heap. But while they were attacking those cabbages, they were leaving me cauliflowers in the next bed alone, and the purple broccoli in the bed after it alone. So it's decoy. So I spent a lot of time and a lot of years trying to kill everything off that was not good for the garden from a gardener's point of view. Spent many years when I was younger trying to do that, and then I just learned to settle with it, really, and just sort of, if I see a bad problem, I'll look over here then instead. Just kind of look away.
Is it hard for you to do that, Steve? Then, even after all these years, are you kind of come to terms with it?
I have come to terms with it. I mean, another example has been Brussels sprouts. I mean, they'll be on a video in a couple of weeks. They've been absolutely hammered by the cabbage whites and by other things. I don't even know what's done it. I haven't even looked, but they've been hammered. And I could see this starting to happen 2 to 3 weeks ago. Just turned a blind eye because I've got so many other crops in there. If I lose one for a year, it's not going to kill me to go to the shop and spend 50p on a bag of sprouts. So I don't overly worry about it, because you can worry yourself into an early grave. And
it's funny enough,
pounds on this killer and that killer.
Well, that's what our next little topic is there, because I'm still in the kind of the trenches fighting. Do you know what I mean? And,
yes.
And I bought myself, and it was like a few years ago, Steve, to be honest. And I don't know if you've got some as well, but I've found it there but it's actually out of stock. So this is my BT, Bacillus thuringiensis. And
thuringiensis, yeah, I've got some of that as well.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't know what you paid, Steve, but I was just looking here for that 500, and that 500, mind you, is massive when you think you only use like a teaspoon, kind of couple of teaspoons. But I'm just going down there. So you'd end up paying £72 for that. Yeah. Now, I think I paid probably, which I thought was like a shocking price, 35 4 years ago. So and I don't even know, I don't know if it goes off or not, but it's still working, because I can tell by, it's still kind of doing the business. But and I think once I've tried neem oil, but I just find it a bit messy and a bit kind of, to be honest, more controversial, where I'm kind of thinking Charlie Dowden uses that stuff, it's all right for me. Do you know what I mean? And I know Steve uses it, so I'm thinking if these two could use it, but that for me it kind of it works. JB, what's your thoughts? Sorry, go on, Steve.
I was just going to say, I mean, I could have mixed some of that up 2 weeks ago and sprayed those sprouts. I just didn't bother. I thought, oh well. I've got other things, I'm not going to run around, because I've been running around chasing my tail all year this year for various reasons. And I just thought, oh, well, just let them have it. And I've just weeded the bed today and cleaned all the bed up nicely. They're still growing, so they'll still carry on, and I'll still probably get a crop from them. But I'm not too worried about pest invasions anymore. Just let them. It's only when it gets severe, then I'm thinking, oh, I better do something now.
See, it's funny. Now I'm still, because I've got different levels of severe, but everything is severe. Do you know what I mean? I did me kind of I only had like say 5 igloo cauliflowers this time round, and I think 5 of the marathon. I've got some more coming down just outside there, but they started on that. Do you know what I mean? So that to me is like severe, and I'm thinking, yeah, buggers. Then they kind of hammered me broccoli. So I've got different levels, but they're all severe. Do you know what I mean? So JB, have you
That's
ever
what-
used? I'll just jump to JB. JB, have you ever used BT?
No, not BT. I do use neem oil, mainly for aphids really early in the season because, especially on the south coast, they just seem to explode before their predators can really get going. But no, I've never used BT. And generally, apart from this year where my netting's been rubbish, physical barrier has always been kind of my go-to.
What's the bloody point?
I had to,
Yeah,
didn't I? Had to.
Yeah, so
There's so much come from that one little video. Do you know what I
What's the
mean?
bloody point?
It's just like,
I've been surprised actually this year how it's relatively easy for me so far, anyway, to keep on top of the brassica eggs, the brassica cabbage white eggs and caterpillars. You know, I've been kind of picking them off here and there. They haven't exploded out of control. Nothing has really been properly damaged. There's some aphid damage on there and that kind of thing, but I definitely don't feel the need to go out and spend 72 pounds.
oh no.
on some
Well,
BT.
it's like I say, it's never. I've
You'd have to
never
have a
seen
cabbage
it,
farm,
JB. I've
you
never
know?
seen it in stock. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
like it's always seems to be out of stock and out of stock. And I think I might have got mine on eBay. I'm not 100%. Steve, where did you get yours from?
Probably eBay as well.
Aye.
It was about, I must have got it 2 or 3 years before lockdown. You know, as I was using it on videos, people were asking where you got it from. And as soon as lockdown hit, it kind of went out of stock then. As soon as lockdown first hit, because people were asking me where it was. And I said, it's just on eBay, but they couldn't get hold of it anywhere.
Is that the exact one, Steve? What you've got, that one there?
It looks like it, yeah.
Yes,
well, I thought my label might be red, where it because it says, I can't really say it clearly, but it says, is it Dipel DF? Is
yes.
it? Yeah, it looks the same. Yeah,
And I think it did it come in like foreign, like it's. I'm sure it's like an Italian kind of.
that's it.
Yes, so you know, but it works. Does it not work? You know what I mean? Well, Coastal Gardens has just kind of said that we've done it. So, Steve, where are you getting yours garlic from?
From the garlic farm.
Oh, right.
I think
not for me.
no, you had a bad experience.
I've had a couple of, not just one. Do you know what I mean? It's been a couple of times I've kind of had, and the last one was the elephant garlic, 12 bulbs, and it's like it's dear stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like, and it's like it's not a machine putting these things in; it's a human putting them in. I'll put money on that, so they know when they're putting this tiny little. And I didn't even plant the little ones, so I only got 6 bulbs. You know what I mean? And I thought, that's it. I'm not using them again, to be honest.
I mean, I think the size of the cloves matter for the elephant garlic, and you want the biggest ones possible. And this year, as I have for the last 5 or 6 years, I've grown from my own stock. So the stuff I've grown this year I'll plant this September. As for the size of the garlic clove for normal garlic, it really doesn't matter, and I proved that this year because I planted all my garlic cloves, and you know what it's like. You plant all the biggest ones first, and I had a little box full of the smaller ones left over. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with it? And I thought, I know, I'll do a trial. Planted them all in rows, and the whole crop came up the same sort of size. There was no difference to whether it was a small, and some of these were thinner than a pencil, you know.
Yeah.
And
mine that I'm talking about elephant garlic. Sorry for mine.
Yes.
Yeah, that was elephant garlic. Wasn't just garlic. But like you say, I know you need kind of. I was just a bit kind of frustrated. You know, you do get it when like ordering online. Sometimes it's just like it's a nightmare, and you think, yeah. But they should have like some sort of kind of quality control. I would have thought like. But that was the last time. So I mean, could be the same everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Audrey, what's it like for you with your garlic? Are you just keeping, because you've got so many? Are you keeping any of that from?
I think out of my 700 heads of garlic, I have plenty to plant from my own stock.
Yes.
So that is what I'm doing.
There'll be no vampires in Detroit this year, around Halloween. I tell you that.
Not in my backyard. Yeah, absolutely.
How's your storage going, Audrey? Is everything? Are you getting any like say rotten ones over storage? Are they all doing nice?
I'm actually going to go through those this week and pick the ones that I'm going to plant and
Right.
figure out what I'm going to do with all. Maybe you'll just get a bouquet of garlic if you come by my house.
What? When do you plant your garlic then over there? And
I planted probably early October,
yeah.
so that it has a chance to kind of get us. I do a pre-soak too.
Oh,
So
right,
my
right.
My roots are almost starting to grow before it goes in the ground.
So just explain
So-
how you do it, because I've never done it I just stick it in the ground, a little bit of water, then forget it until next May. You know what I mean? Like next June, should I say?
So for like a 5-gallon bucket of water, I would put in 2 tablespoons of mycorrhizal. Look at you,
God.
giggle, giggle,
Oh,
giggle,
yeah.
giggle. I would put in 2 tablespoons of a kelp. Why are you laughing?
Just 'cause I was like, I was going to start adding in a little, pinch of a unicorn horn and a little kind of sprinkle of fairy dust there.
Don't mock what works.
Yeah, come on then. Sorry, Audrey. Yes. So,
Okay. So a couple tablespoons of a kelp meal and a couple tablespoons of fish emulsion. And I soak the garlic first in either like cheap vodka or
are you, are you being serious here?
I am. And it just sterilizes it so that you're not putting. Steve, stop. I see your face. So I put that, and I just soak them for about half an hour, and then I dump them in this other bucket and let them soak overnight, and then I plant them.
Audrey, you can't be giving them vodka. Sure. How did you come? How did you work this recipe out?
You think isopropyl alcohol got expensive in the last 2 years? Yes, because everybody wanted it, right? Cheap vodka is still cheap vodka. So it's not a vodka I would ever drink because it tastes like moonshine,
Mm-hmm.
but it's whatever you want to make sure the stock is sterilized. That's all.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So it can be hydrogen peroxide. It can be whatever. I just found these last 2 years that vodka was cheaper than all of those.
And there's definitely no unicorn tears going in or anything. You know what I mean? Kind of.
No fairy dust. I don't chant and jump around the thing. I mean, I just put them in and let them go.
Well, actually, we've shown you photographs of the garlic. You know what I mean? Your harvest was pretty darn good.
Yeah, and I got some beautiful sized heads of garlic. So I'm not gonna. If it ain't broke, I'm not changing it.
And he has me laughing at you, Audrey. And I came away with like marble size.
Your harvest, so
I had like marbles. You know what I mean? Kind of. JB, would you ever use unicorn tears and like sorry.
To be fair, yeah, if it stopped white rot, I would.
I know.
Would.
That's the thing with us, isn't it? It's like we've got that to contend with as well. So
this year I'm gonna try some in troughs. I just need to not forget, because garlic is one that I always forget, because it's like there's not much other stuff that goes in kind of October time, it's September, October. So yeah, I've just.
Well, I know I'll put if you get in touch with like Coastal Gardens, North Wales, he I forget Coastal Gardens name, Sean, is it? Just in big trays, like, and grows them in actually trays. Do you know what I mean? Like bread baskets, almost looking things, JB, and crops.
Interesting.
Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. To be honest,
check that out.
Audrey, again.
Yes.
I did today. Am I doing wrong? Because we talk about sunflowers and sunflower seeds and leaving them up. Well, some of the beds that I'm wanting to use for my brassicas, I want to kind of, eventually probably cover them up, and I don't want to kind of keep these sunflowers up. So I'm chopping the heads off and keeping them, the seeds like that. Is that just as good, or is it not just? Would you kind of keep your plants?
Do you want them out for the birds? Is that?
Well, I would rather have the birds, what Steve says, eating some of them. And there was, on my video tomorrow, there's a new video coming out tomorrow. There's a pigeon there and it's eating the fallen sunflower seeds. So I'm thinking, if I kind of encourage them to eat them, you know.
yeah.
But
Hang them.
I want to get rid of
Whatever.
some of the plants because some of the plants are in a bit of a nuisance place now when I want to put a
Sure.
netting over.
Sure. I would just, clump them together or put them on that fence that you have
Mhm.
on the edge of your plot. So make it easy for the birds to go
Mhm.
there and get them.
That's
They'll love them.
that's yeah. I haven't done that. I've just chopped the head, but I might keep the stalk as well and just latch them onto their heads and let the birds just kind of
Just let
yeah.
them.
Mhm.
I saw a squirrel just this week climb the sunflower and pop a head off,
Right.
and he was enjoying it like he was having a feast on the lawn. And I thought, wow, you worked hard for that, dude. So
You can have it.
What
you
was it? Was he drunk and smelling of garlic?
Yes. No, you see, it's not just me. It's not just me.
that's okay. I'm like, it works for me, so I'm doing
That's
it.
right.
And if there's any US folks out there, one of the best places to buy, and this is not a paid advertisement, is from Fruition Seeds. Fruitionseeds.com sells some of the best organic garlic seed I have come across. So,
Right. Well, I tell you what I did notice as well. Someone was saying in some chat, I can't remember which, Audrey, that we actually cannot order from Baker Creek now. So that, I guess it's because of Brexit we can't get delivered seeds from Baker
you're
Creek.
kidding.
So someone said that. So
I ordered some off them not so very long ago.
right,
Over a month ago, I got a delivery from them
right.
because I've ordered most of my tomato seeds and stuff.
Well, I
from
tell you,
them.
I tell you who it was. It was Ian in our little private message. Ian, who's kind of the moderator on on the
Grown
Discord.
local.
Yes, Grown Local. And
Yeah.
I'm sure it was Ian said, "Oh, you kind of get," because he's after some Brad's Atomic seeds. And
Right.
I says, "Oh, well, I'm just probably going to get the kind of the real deal instead of keeping my own, just to, what I
Yeah.
mean." He says, "Oh, you kind of get they're not delivering to the UK, so."
Huh.
Oh, wow.
It's garlic live plant tubers or bulbs outside the US, but I think you can still get seeds.
Right. It's a good job we know someone who can kind of hide them
Wink,
under.
wink. As you're laughing at how she grows things.
Yes.
Tony, I think you should apologise.
Yes, I think it's
her feelings.
No,
I think it's a bit of humble pie. I'm tasting
take
it. To be.
I can take it. I can even have stinging nettles, and I'll be okay.
Well, I think we'll get to our tips of the week. We've just clipped an hour there. So, Audrey, was that your tip of the week?
No, it really was, because I am pulling out my disastrous tomatoes behind my garage, and I'm planting crimson clover there,
Right.
which is a legume, so that will fix a whole lot of things in my soil. And because of the killing frosts that we have here,
Mhm.
I'm just going to let it die in place, and I'm going to let it just rot on the top, not rot, but decay on top.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to flip it. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to maybe put a little bit of compost over it in the spring and plant my tomatoes in there again.
Right. What? I don't know about your tomato. I must have missed it if you've told us in our chat. I haven't seen a video from you. What happened to you? Is this all your tomatoes? Is it, Audrey?
Oh, no. It's just the ones on the back of the garage. We had problems. I have no problems with watering anywhere else, but except the one that's using the rain barrels,
Right.
which to me is crazy. So we're still trying to figure that out, because this year it was a disaster. So that's why I'm going to just hopefully give a little bit more nutrition to that bed. We'll get the watering figured out by next spring, and we'll be good to go.
Right. Well, thank you very much.
And I'm also not going to try to extend my season too far this year. I'm gonna plant more, like in my huge back garden. I'm gonna plant a lot of that crimson clover there too, just to try to break up the ground a little bit, add a little nutrition, but keep it covered for the winter.
Right.
So
There's because it's kind of almost. Will you still have somewhere to grow the Chinese cabbage competition? Are you backing out of that?
Oh no, I just planted some more. I just planted some more.
Right,
So we'll
right.
see. I think we might be able to get it. So yeah, I'm not out of that. Oh no.
JB, tip of the week, sir.
Yeah. So it's chili season. So I like to have the chili tip. This is kind of a two-in-one. But when it comes to harvesting and eating, it's very good to take some precautions. And obviously you harvest first and just make sure you're wearing gloves. Okay. That is my plea to anyone who's growing chilies as a kind of newbie. Just make sure you're wearing gloves whenever you're handling, chopping, processing.
JB, you've took the
doing
words. You've
anything.
took the words, JB, right out of my mouth. Because I brought all my chilies home. My wife, because they're called a big devil, so they actually look like a sweet pepper. So with no gloves on, anything like that, she's done. Put a few in, we normally just put like one in, like a spaghetti bolognese kind of thing, like a bit of like depth, a bit of warmth. A load
nice.
went in, and then my wife Melly got a bath last night. This is and the night before, and obviously your pores opened, and she says it just stung after. There was no sting there before, but when he went in the bath, come out, she says it was just like stinging.
Yeah, it's the risk of touching anywhere as well. So there's a lot of sensitive areas on a human body. The face, the eyes, some other places. And it's really easy.
I know.
Yeah, it's really, really easy a few hours later to have forgotten that you've been handling chilies. So just keep your gloves on, folks. And if you're going to be eating really hot, spicy stuff, the best thing you can do is line your stomach with fats. So anything kind of oily or fatty or something like that. And that will stop any risk of like cramps or like stuff really repeating on you for a long time. That's more for if you're having very hot raw chilies.
But why
really helps.
Why does, when I've seen videos, JB, then what's happening with the reaction when you see folks take the bite, they start hiccuping? What?
God, yeah, I get that.
Why is that? What is that? And what is?
I don't know. To be honest, I'm not sure about the hiccup. Like loads of people have really specific individual reactions to chili, so it's very fun. I'm a hiccuper. Some people like their ears burn.
Right.
Like some people are coughing and like their nose is going. It's really interesting. But like if you have something really hot, it won't physically damage anything inside, but it can really, really irritate your kind of esophagus. Is that the one for your stomach?
Yeah.
I don't know, your stomach tube and your stomach itself.
And you know what I mean? When you say goodbye, to the, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But if you have something really hot, you can be in agony for, I'm not joking, hours if you don't line your stomach first.
So fats.
So they're my chili tips.
There we go. Thank you very much, Stephen. Tip of the week, sir.
Yeah, don't eat chilies. Compost. No, I was going to say this time of the year, we're sort of clearing or taking harvest and clearing beds a little. I'm certainly doing that a lot at the minute. And you're generally clearing up around your plot, and you'll find a few trays where seedlings died off or where you left the plants in and the plants have died off. Use that compost now, recycle it, and you can grow lettuce leaves in it for later on this season, because those lettuce leaves are going to be just cut and come again.
Right.
So just get your seedlings going in it. They won't need a lot of nutrition, so a used compost is perfect for that.
It's funny, I just picked some out of the compost pile. Some like lettuce was starting to grow different varieties, and I put it in like one of our 15 slot trays, the bigger ones. And they're away, looking lovely, healthy plants, like volunteers. You know what I mean? I love a volunteer. They seem to do way better than me. You know me, kind of normal growing.
I've just found a tray of lettuce I didn't even know I had, and they're away outside the polytunnel among the potatoes, but they look like all right plants. So I might put them on tomorrow and see what happens.
Oh, definitely.
No idea how they got there.
Definitely,
they did.
Well, another show bites the dust. Now, next week, we are losing JB. JB, you're off. Are you off on your holidays, are you?
I am off on my
Yes,
holidays. Down to Cornwall.
that top's coming off, girls, men.
He's off to Scunthorpe.
Yes. So just if there's any, the hottest gardener in the UK is on the prowl.
Do you have his calendar picture to pop up, Tony?
Sorry, yes, I wish I had that one as well. You know what I mean? But I have fed JB to a couple of thongs for his beach holiday. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? With a little kind of potty mouth on the front. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, strutting this stuff down the seafront.
Yes. So next week we'll have Jesse from Plot. What number was it?
37. 37.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yep.
So we've got Jessie on next week as well, which would be lovely to kind of catch up. Because actually, the last time we spoke to Jessie, she was having just total tomato failure. So it would be nice to kind of catch up to see how things are going as well. So, JB, have a lovely holiday.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. And actually the week after we're on holiday, I'm on holiday, so we're going to kind of have a week off anyways. So pop over to the Discord. Pop over to the kind of the podcast, join the podcast, and you can listen to this again. I actually listen to this on the podcast. Do you know what I mean? Because there's so much going on. Sometimes I'm missing like bits of conversation, so I'll listen to the podcast version of this, the audio. Do you know what I mean? And it's just excellent, to be honest. Absolutely excellent. So please subscribe to the podcast. Audrey, Steve, JB, thank you very much, everybody. Take good care. Welcome. We will see you next week.
Cheers, everyone.
Look after yourselves. Take care. Bye.